At 6 p.m. we'll call to order. We'll have Councilman Gilmore here to give us our invocation of pledge.
All right, everybody face the flag, we'll salute and pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we'll pray. God, in the name of Jesus, we honor you for this day. We thank you for this city. Thank you for everybody gathered in this room and the leaders on this dais, God. God, we thank you that we do everything to bring glory to your name. And ask that everything in this order, God, brings glory to your name. And it is done in order and decency in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Cora, would you call the roll?
Councilor Gilmore.
Here.
Woodley. Here. Stone.
Here.
Roden.
Here.
Boatright.
Here.
Beatty.
Here.
Mayor.
Here, and we have a quorum. On to citizens' comments on non-agenda items. Residents may address council regarding an item that is not listed on the agenda. Residents may provide their name and address, and council requests that comments be limited to 5 minutes. I don't have anybody signed up. Nobody? Okay, move on to consent agenda. All matters listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the city council, being acted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Does anybody want anything removed?
D. E.
H.
L. Okay, so I've got D, E, H, and L. Any others? All right, so I'll take a motion to approve items A through C, F through G, I through K, and M through N. Motion, Councilor Stone, second, Councilor Beatty. Cora, would you call the roll?
Councilor Stone.
Yes.
Beatty.
Yes.
Gilmore.
Yes.
Woodley. Yes. Roden.
Yes.
Boatright.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, the motion carries. All right, first one we'll do is item D.
I don't want John Brown on there. He's got us hooked in with a TIF deal, and it's gonna be crazy to ever get over that. So I don't want him on this tourism board.
Any other discussion? Take that motion.
I make a motion that he not go on there.
Is there a second? Okay.
There's a motion and a second, doing his job while he's not here. Motion and the second is to not place John Brown on this board. So a aye vote is to not place him on the board. A no vote is to place him on the board. Does that make sense?
Opposite.
Well, it is opposite today. Okay.
All right. That was Councilor Roden and then Councilor Boatright. Cora, would you call the roll?
Councilor Roden.
Yes.
Boatright.
Yes.
Woodley.
No.
Stone.
No.
Beatty.
Yes.
Gilmore.
No.
Mayor.
No. And so the motion does not carry.
Do we need a motion then
That was my question. Do we have a motion to approve item D? Motion, Councilor Gilmore. Do we have a second? Second, Councilor Woodley. Cora, would you call the roll? And this is there.
Hold on.
There again, this one is to.
I need a
approve.
motion. What is your motion, sir?
I'll make a motion that we do allow item D for the appointment of John Brown to serve on the board.
To approve John Brown to serve on the board.
Yes.
Thank you. Do I need to explain what a yay and no vote is? A yay vote is to put him on the board, and no vote is to leave him off of the board.
Cora, would you call the roll?
Councilor Gilmore.
Yes.
Woodley.
Yes.
Stone.
Yes.
Roden.
No.
Boatright.
No.
Beatty.
No.
Mayor.
Yes, and the motion carries. On to item E. This was for Marcella Bell on the.
So that's mine. So on a tourism board, it needs to be somebody that has done tourism in the community, I would think. Previously, the mayor has let the council, each one of us pick somebody from our ward to be on whatever board it was. It didn't happen in this case. You look at Marcello's board bio, and there's nothing to do with tourism on there. I mean, we're at a crossroads for our city. We really need we need a tourism board that has done tourism, that has some education and experience in it.
Part of the thought process was having some lay people also. Any other discussion?
I know Marcello Bell personally, and I think he would serve as an excellent member on this board. He is not originally from here, but from the time he's been here to the time right now, he has done several things to help us in the city. A lot of the reason that Hunter Park is now a beautiful park is because of that man. So I believe that he is an excellent choice for this board.
Any-
Council, if I may make a recommendation, if somebody would wish to make the motion to put him on the board, a no vote would be your vote to say, do not put them on. That way we don't have to have two votes on an item, so.
And vote opposite.
And a vote opposite days, we don't wanna do that, so let's not confuse the issue. If we could just have either a motion to, or if there is no motion or no second, it will be dropped and we'll have to find another name.
Any further discussion?
Yes. So, if you don't have somebody that has contacts in tourism, I know that he's done well for the cities, but what can he bring to the city? What does he bring to the table?
That could be said about some of these other names as well.
Correct.
And then,
That's why I really don't like the whole board, because there's nothing, they're not bringing anything to the table. I mean, in my business, which I'm in business, you have to hire somebody with experience, or they have to gain experience before they can be brought forth and before they can really do a good job. Well, if you put a board together of people that have never done this before, I mean, we're at a crossroads in our city. We're really growing, we're really doing good. So why would we put together a board of people who have no idea what the tourism is?
Well,
I mean, they have no contacts with the state.
yeah. Well, I agree with what you're saying on that part, but also having people that work hard. You know, we put people on the tree board that aren't arborists in that sense, and so we wanted fresh ideas along with people who are currently in tourism. And Marcello's always been a hard worker.
Tree board's a lot different than tourism. Tourism is a big deal. I mean, I don't see any representation from the Italian Festival, from Oktoberfest. I don't see any representation from that. And that's the tourism of our town. I mean, the Oktoberfest, Dennis Wilson has brought Oktoberfest to a huge, huge event in McAllister. That's the caliber of person I want on the board, because they have some experience in tourism.
Any further discussion?
Well, I agree pretty much what Kevin's saying. We need experience on there and stuff.
Anything else? We have a motion to approve.
If we make a motion to approve, it's to bring his name forward to serve on the board.
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
That way it simplifies it, so whether it's approved or not approved, we're not doing backwards voting, trying to stay confused. So,
I'll make that motion.
Councilor Gilmore has a motion to approve. Second? Councilor Woodley? Cora, would you call the roll?
Counselor Gilmore,
Yes.
Woodley,
Yes.
Roden,
No.
Boatright,
No.
Beatty,
No.
Stone,
No.
Mayor.
Yes. And the motion fails. Move on to item number H, appointment of Courtney McBean to the Tourism Board.
Me?
Yep.
The only reason I'm asking that we not put Courtney on there is because of all the problems she's had when she was down on Choctaw with the businesses. I've had several of the people down there contact me that they would not want her on that board. So I'm just going by what people are telling me, or asking me to do, so.
I too have got the same thing, that reaction from I call them the shakers and movers down there at Dancing Rabbit and stuff like that. They'd had a lot of problems with her and stuff, so I agree with Billy Jack.
Any further discussion? Ms. Bean, if you'd like to say something. Yeah,
Hi.
name and address.
Oh, sorry, Courtney Bean, 1107 Preakness. I just wanted to say that the conflict that I had with Dancing Rabbit was because I owned my business down there and they were shutting it down, and in the beginning without any notice. I haven't had my business now for a year and a half, and the conflict was just business related. There is no conflict there right now. And I'll take any other questions if anyone has anything.
Anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All right, take a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, do I have a second? Do I have a second? Do I have a second?
This is to take a vote?
Mm-hmm.
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion, Counselor Gilmore, second, Counselor Stone. Cora, would you call the roll?
Counselor Gilmore?
Yes.
Stone?
No.
Boatright?
No.
Beatty?
No.
Woodley?
Abstain.
Roden?
No.
Mayor?
Yes, and the motion fails. On to item L. This is agreement between the City of McAllister and the Spectrum Group for fiscal year 2025-2026.
I just need some explanation on that.
So
Is that
we,
for- is
um,
it for-
We've had, the Spectrum Group has been our representative up in Washington DC for, I don't know how many years. I couldn't wager to say that, but at least the last 3 years that I've been in office and the year before that, because I know that they had brought up stuff that they had done. They are our direct participant for Stampede. They're the ones that set up all of our meetings that we have with Congress, and along with the meetings that we have at the Pentagon. They're a professional organization. They were instrumental in getting us into the door to have the discussions with the NDSA or the group down there that when the cuts were about to happen, when the layoffs, Spectrum Group got us to having those conversations with
Wow,
senior leadership. So.
good. Good. Yeah, I just need some clarification on
No,
that.
yep, and there's no change in the cost. There's no over last year. It's the same contract. It's just renewed.
Okay,
That's why it's on the consent.
yeah.
Anytime you see a contract on the consent, it's going to be a continuation of that contract over a year.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Any further questions? Motion to approve. Motion, Counselor Boatright, second, Counselor Stone. Cora, would you call the roll?
Counselor Boatright?
Yes.
Stone?
Yes.
Beatty?
Yes.
Gilmore?
Yes.
Woodley?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, the motion carries. Alright, move on to public hearing. All persons interested in the ordinance listed under scheduled business shall have an opportunity to be heard in accordance with Article 2, Section 212B of the City Charter. Tonight we have 6 public hearings. The first one is an ordinance from a R1A single family to a C5 highway. Is there anybody who'd like to speak on that? Or I guess we need to, I'll say what they are, then we'll go into public hearing. The second is H1 Health District. Third is powers relative to exceptions on some ordinances. The fourth is FY 2023 CDBG grant final performance report. Fifth is the FY 2025 CDBG grant proposed, and the sixth is a budget for FY 2025-2026. So I have a motion to go into a public hearing. Motion, Councilor Beatty, second, Councilor Boatright. Cora, would you call the roll?
Vice Mayor Beatty?
Yes.
Counselor Boatright?
Yes.
Gilmore?
Yes.
Woodley?
Yes.
Stone?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, and the motion carries. We're now in a public hearing. Would anybody like to speak on the ordinance for R1A to C5? Would anybody like to speak on the H1 Health Facilities District? Would anyone like to speak on amending Code Section 6297, powers relative to exceptions. Anybody like to speak on the FY 2023 CDBG grant closeout, final performance? Anybody like to speak on FY 2025 CDBG grant proposed sewer line manhole replacement project? Anybody like to speak on the budget for FY 2025-2026? Any discussion from council? Now we'll take a motion to close public hearing. Motion, Councilor Boatright, second, Councilor Beatty. Cora, would you call the roll?
Councilor Boatright,
Yes.
Beatty,
Yes.
Roden,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Woodley,
Yes.
Stone,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, and the motion carries. Now move on to scheduled business. We only have 17 items tonight. Somebody turn the air down and we'll get started. All right, item number 1, discussion of possible action to approve an ordinance of the City of McAllister, Oklahoma, amending McAllister City Code, Chapter 102, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 1 in general by adding Section 102-14, Avoidance of Traffic Control Device, providing for codification, repeal, or severability, and setting an effective date. Chief Hurd.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all letting me come here tonight. We've had an issue that's come up, it's been around for a long time. 30 years ago when I first got into law enforcement, there was a statute on the part in the stop sign statute that somewhere in the last 25 years has been taken out. If you go around a stop sign, that's what we're asking for, is to not allow people to go through private property, to go through a stop sign, go through a 6th and Parkway, go through the filling station to avoid the red light, turn right. It happens all over town, happens a lot. I get a lot of complaints to my office from business owners worried about their clientele walking back and forth from the gas pumps or wherever. Cato's one of the biggest ones that they're worried about. People come out, they're not thinking anybody's gonna drive through there, and here they come, you know, sometimes fast. So Warner Bedford really took this upon himself to find this out. He researched other cities, the ordinances they had, got me 4 or 5 of them, brought them to him. I took them to our city prosecutor, Mr. Fields. Mr. Fields went through them, and he felt this was the best one. This comes from Oklahoma City. This is word for word what they have in theirs. He wanted this one, so I turned it over to the city attorney, and this is what he come up with. Basically, it would make it a traffic violation for somebody to go through private property, like at 69 Hardy Springs is the one that comes to mind the most. Main and South comes a lot. People want to make a right-hand turn, don't want to wait in line at the stop sign or the red light, and they cut through private property, go through the gas pumps and around the corner and then get back out on the street. And it's a dangerous thing. It's an issue, like I said, that the citizens have asked us to do something about. So that's why we're bringing it to you tonight.
Yeah, I learned that in driver's ed. I did not realize that had been repealed.
Yeah.
Evidently it was edited out somewhere because we researched it, and it's not in the statute book, and that's why other cities have had to start putting the ordinances in. So we feel like we need it here.
Any questions? Now this says with an effective date. Do we need the motion to include an effective date?
Emergency. No, we can't do the emergency. The effective date would be 30 days from the date of inception.
So we just approve it?
Yep.
We'll do that. We have a motion to
I
approve.
make a motion to approve it.
Motion, Councilor Roden, second, Councilor Beatty. Cora, would you call the roll?
Councilor Roden,
Yes.
Beatty,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Woodley,
Yes.
Stone,
Yes.
Boatright,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, and the motion carries. Item number 2, discussion of possible action to approve and authorize the mayor to sign an agreement between the City of McAllister and Southeast Oklahoma Library Systems and the Choctaw Nation.
I know this says me, but I want to give Michael Hull a chance from Souls to walk us through what this is and why we're doing it.
Yes, Michael Holt, 2820 North Main. The short and simple of it is for Choctaw Nation to finalize everything they need to be a partner on this project. They have to send the funding through a city or a county, or at least their economic development department does. So what we're asking the city is, for their part of this agreement would be the pass-through entity. So that would be the city's only obligation on this. When Choctaw Nation is ready to give their contributions, whether it be over 5 years or if we can get them to, as they're thinking of doing a little bit sooner, you guys would just receive the money and then remit that to us, and it would go toward the construction project.
Any questions? Motion to approve?
I make a motion to
Motion,
approve.
Councilor Beatty, second, Councilor Woodley. Cora, would you call the roll?
Vice Mayor Beatty,
Yes.
Counselor Woodley,
Yes.
Stone,
Yes.
Roden,
Yes.
Boatright,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, and the motion carries.
If it so suits you, I would like to move 11 through 17 up to now. And the reason for that is because we have Millie Vance in the audience. Millie has traveled I would say a little distance, Ardmore. But she also has to drive home tonight, so if we could please move all of her stuff to the beginning here, I'd appreciate it so that she can get home. Millie, come on up.
Yeah, we're gonna skip to item number 11, discussion possible action on the closeout resolution. Resolution approving accepting the 19167 CDBG 23 sewer line manhole replacement project.
Good
And
evening.
manhole rehab project is complete, and authorizing the mayor to sign the closeout documents. That was a mouthful.
Good evening, Mayor Few, board members, and I see a new few faces around here. I think I'm the old timer that's here tonight. Anyway, we are concluding, have finished the fiscal year 23 sewer line and manhole project that served an area in the Ridgecrest complex area. The city has drawn down all of the grant funds, $228,333, and the project was divided into sewer line and manhole replacement, and then we had a little bit of money left on match that we needed, so we did a substantial rehab project, and it's been completed as well. So at this point, we're ready to close out. The engineer has done a final inspection. We've received that report and his certificate of completion. So with that, this resolution is your formal statement that you are accepting the project and ready to close it out. Be
Any
glad to
discussion?
answer any questions.
Motion to approve. Motion, Counselor Gilmore, second, Counselor Boatright. Cora, would you call the roll?
Counselor Gilmore,
Yes.
Boatright,
Yes.
Stone,
Yes.
Roden,
Yes.
Beatty,
Yes.
Woodley,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, and the motion carries. Now on to item number 12, discussion and possible action adopting the Citizens Participation Plan for FY 2025 CDBG project.
Because we're just closing out the 2023 application, you're now eligible to go back for 2025 Community Development Block Grant funds. This year, the grant amount is in the amount of $180,000, and we'll take an equal amount of match of $180,000. So the Citizen Participation Plan, in a nutshell, is just the encouragement of the board to include the local public. We do that by holding 2 public hearings, one during the application phase and one during the closeout phase, as we've done tonight. The Citizen Participation Plan spells out the fact that we'll hold the hearings at an hour when citizens can come in a place that's accessible to people. If you should have a significant number of non-English speaking persons, you would provide for an interpreter. But in a nutshell, we just want to include input from your local public. These next several items are a little bit coercive in that they all become a part of the new application.
Any discussion? Motion to approve. Motion, Counselor Boatright, second, Counselor Gilmore. Cora, would you call the roll?
Counselor Boatright,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Roden,
Yes.
Beatty,
Yes.
Woodley,
Yes.
Stone,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, and the motion carries. On to item number 13, discussion of possible action adopting resolution authorizing the application for FY 2025 CDBG grant for the proposed sewer line and manhole replacement project.
And this resolution is your formal statement that you do want to make this application. It tells you that this is federal funding. It originates at HUD and is passed through the Oklahoma Department of Commerce and on to municipalities. It further says that because it's federal money, it has federal rules and regulations attached to it. And should you receive the grant, then you'll abide by those rules and regulations.
Any discussion? Motion to approve. Motion, Counselor Beatty, second, Counselor Woodley. Court, would you call the roll?
Vice Mayor Beatty?
Yes.
Counselor Woodley?
Yes.
Boatright?
Yes.
Gilmore?
Yes.
Stone?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, and the motion carries. On item number 14, discussion of possible action to adopt a resolution on the leverage matching funds for FY 2025 CDBG proposed sewer line and manhole replacement project.
Okay. I'm sorry, I apologize for that. We were on the, resolution on the leverage funding. Originally, Mike was telling me that the grant amount was for $180,000. Gonna put in $180,000 as match, dollar for dollar is required. He tells me that they have just upped it to $195,000, so your match then would be $195,000. I think the document that you all have seen in your packet says $180,000, so we need to make that correction on it. But this match that you're committing to, as far as when that will come into play, it would be in next year's budget. This grant would be funded. You all are an entitlement community, so you'll automatically get the grant if you do the application. But as far as the expenditure of the funds, they would come in next fiscal year's budget. And that is the amount of $195,000.
And that's on this item? The 195 is on this item? Okay. Any discussion? Motion to approve. Motion Counselor Boatright, second Counselor Beatty. Court, would you call the roll?
Counselor Boatright?
Yes.
Beatty?
Yes.
Gilmore?
Yes.
Woodley?
Yes.
Stone?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, and the motion carries. On to item number 15, discussion of possible action adopting a resolution authorizing application for FY 2025 CDBG grant for proposed sewer line and manhole replacement project.
Mayor, I believe that's a repeat of number 13.
So we don't need both?
One was a resolution, the other one is the authorizing application.
Okay, I'm sorry, okay.
They do look very similar.
So your formal approval to authorize the application, the submission of the application.
Any discussion? Motion to approve. Motion Counselor Boatright, second Counselor Gilmore. Court, would you call the roll?
Counselor Boatright?
Yes.
Gilmore?
Yes.
Woodley?
Yes.
Stone?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Beatty?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, and the motion carries. Item number 16, discussion of possible action, reading and approval of 2025 Fair Housing Proclamation.
The fair housing is one of the federal requirements of the program. We do need the proclamation to be read aloud. Each year that you have a grant open, community development block grant open, you're required to do one step to further fair housing. So this will be the fair housing activity for 2025.
Yeah. The Fair Housing Proclamation is pursuant to the authority granted to me as mayor of City of McAllister. I do hereby proclaim that the City of McAllister supports and encourages fair housing practices. Further, I decree that the City of McAllister affirms to follow the concepts, practices, and intent embodied by federal, state, and local laws in regard to fair housing. The Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination in housing because of race or color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, sexual orientation, gender identity, handicap, or any other federally declared characteristic. The City of McAllister encourages each citizen, agency, and lender or real estate business planning on housing, promotions, or activities to implement these provisions of the Fair Housing Act. Is that theirs? Do we need to approve that?
Do we need to approve as a body?
You should.
Okay. Do I have a motion to, or any discussion? Motion to approve. Motion was Counselor Beatty, second Counselor Boatright. Court, would you call the roll?
Vice Mayor Beatty?
Yes.
Counselor Boatright?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Gilmore?
Yes.
Woodley?
Yes.
Stone?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, and the motion carries. Item number 17, discussion of possible action adopting a resolution for Section 3, Plan A requirement of the CDBG 25 grant application.
Section 3 has always been a program requirement of the CDBG program. Section 3, that means that to the greatest extent feasible, the program would encourage the hiring of local low-income persons. This is going to pertain to the construction contractor. There will be things that the city will do through the bid packet that lets potential bidders know that if they have the occasion to put on new hands, that they would consider local low-income people. Does not mean they will have to lay off existing crews, but just if they have the occasion, would they consider that? The grant requires that the tracking of all the hours of the employees on the job on a construction site as to whether they are a Section 3 worker, whether they're a targeted Section 3 worker, which would mean a low-income worker that lives within the county, or a unclassified, they're above income. So those hours are done and they're tracked by your grant administrator. So Michael Allen will be doing that work for the city. But the resolution and the plan just set forth the steps, the ideas that the city's going to encourage this, and they will do so through the bidding process and the tracking of all the hours.
Any discussion? Motion to approve. Motion Counselor Gilmore, second Counselor Roden. Cora, would you call the roll?
Counselor Gilmore,
Yes.
Roden,
Yes.
Woodley,
Yes.
Stone,
Yes.
Boatright,
Yes.
Beatty,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, and the motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if you grant me a moment. Millie Vance has been doing this for longer than most of us could ever imagine. I've known you for 8 years doing this across 3 different cities, and I'm proud to say that I've known you. I'm proud to say that I respect you. Millie is retiring, and she's no longer going to be doing this for us. Millie, I wish you the best.
Thank you.
And for anybody that's been on this table for more than a year, you've seen her here before, and you're not going to see her again. So, you're sure.
We'll see.
So I just wanted to say thank you for all of your service to all of the communities that I have served, because you were in Mangum, you were in Crescent, you were in Edmond, you've done it all. So
Thank you.
thank you.
I appreciate that, and I as well have certainly enjoyed my tenure, probably more than 20 years with McAllister, with various these small cities and economic development projects. And so I've always enjoyed working with staff. They're very capable. They're cohesive. They work together. And I appreciate that as an administrator. It's not that way everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Millie.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna rewind back to item number 3. Discussion of possible action to approve an ordinance amending the general zoning ordinance and accompanying map thereto known as general zoning ordinance number 1843 by changing the classification of the zoning district for tract and lot 87 town site number 4, Pittsburgh County, State of Oklahoma, from R1A single family residential district to C5 highway commercial recreation district. Ms. Clifton.
Good evening, council. The applicant here is Curtis Woods, representing the Wallace Family Properties, and this is for a 1.46 acre parcel that's part of the larger 16 acre parcel that's between George and I and Tanglewood. This goal is to align its zoning with the other C5 zoning district in the surrounding area, and also part of the remaining property that they own. So we did find that the abstractors report, and that was a note that I put in here, is that the abstractors report actually included the entirety of the parcel that the Wallace family had purchased in May of 2022. And then they had separated and sold the house that's there in December of 2023. So we did correct the ordinance. The notices are correct. However, we did correct the notice to do the less and accept of the house that was there, because we were contacted by the property owners that lived there in the house. And so it will not rezone their property. it will only rezone the applicant's property that they own now. There is a provision in the ordinances for the Board of Adjustment to extend the district of a single parcel under that ownership. So this would have split zoning once they put that into a single parcel. However, our Planning Commission chairman prefers to do it this way, to go through Planning Commission, do the public notices and everything. And it's probably a good thing that we did, since, you know, it would exclude that property owner's, you know, residence. But the McAllister Planning Commission did meet on May 20th, 2025, and they voted to recommend that this rezoning request be approved as presented. If you have any
Any discussion?
questions.
Motion to approve. Motion Counselor Beatty, second Counselor Boatright. Would you call the roll?
Vice Mayor Beatty?
Yes.
Counselor Boatright?
Yes.
Woodley?
Yes.
Stone?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Gilmore?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, and the motion carries. On to item number 4, discussion of possible action to accept the described track number 2, road easement, utility easement 1, utility easement 2, utility easement 3, and or utility easement 4, all is described for part of lot 76 and lot 77 of TA number 4 in the northeast quarter of the southwest quarter of section 17, 5 North 15, East Pittsburgh County, Oklahoma, for use as public easement.
I tried to shorten that as much as possible. The long descriptions that are included on the plat of survey are included in your packet, though, for each of the described easements that are here. This is also for the Wallace family property. This one is further north, and it has been addressed the 830 South George Nye Expressway. So this opening is necessary step in the applicant's development. They'd like to go ahead and move forward. However, the subdivision plat that we would normally, you know, try to do cannot be determined yet with the lot lines, because they haven't quite finalized those contracts for the other retail development on the property. So these easements are to open them, accept them. Well, let me back up. These easements are to accept them, and at a later time, once the construction occurs and those have been approved, then I will bring it back to council to then open them and make them publicly accessible. They would then become public utility lines. The McAllister Planning Commission met on May 20th, 2025, considered this application of all the listed easements, and they did recommend the acceptance of the easements as described in the plat of survey.
Any questions? Motion to approve. Motion Counselor Boatright, second Counselor Beatty. Cora, would you call the roll?
Counselor Boatright?
Yes.
Beatty?
Yes.
Stone?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Gilmore?
Yes.
Woodley?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, and the motion carries.
Thank you.
On to item number 5, discussion of possible action to approve an ordinance of the City of McAllister, Oklahoma, amending McAllister City Code, Chapter 62, Land Development, Planning, Zoning, and Subdivisions, Section 62-97, powers relative to exceptions, repealing all conflicting ordinances, and providing for severability.
So this ordinance amendment is to make some changes to the minor variances that the Planning Commission and Council had allowed before. And this is to have the administrative review process rather than go through Planning Commission or Board of Adjustment. So it has the intent to promote the rehabilitation or reuse of existing buildings and providing flexibility for new construction. This cannot override conditions previously imposed by either the Planning Commission, Board of Adjustment, or Council. They can be approved, denied, or referred to the Board of Adjustment. There must be written findings of fact as well, and consistent with the city's comprehensive plan and zoning intent. If the applicant or any surrounding property owners feel that they are aggrieved by it, they can appeal it to the Board of Adjustment then. So all that language has been included in the ordinance. The Planning Commission did consider this because it is included in Chapter 62, and they did recommend the ordinance amendment as it is presented.
I think this is much needed as a mechanism for those oddities that are not very big.
That's correct, and they are very strict minor variances, so anything that's above that would then just go to the Board of Adjustment and be heard as they normally would.
Percentage of land or?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, a good example would be, say, if the lot was required of 10,000 square feet and they had $9,999, they would have to go to Board of Adjustment.
This allows that 5%.
Yep. And it saves that entire process for the applicant, and I highly doubt that's something the Board of Adjustment would even deny at that point over a foot, so. Any further discussion? Motion to approve. Motion, Counselor Woodley, second Counselor Beatty. Cole, would you call the roll?
Counselor Woodley,
Yes.
Beatty,
Yes.
Roden,
Yes.
Boatright,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Stone,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, and the motion carries. On to item number 6, discussion and possible action to approve an ordinance of the City of McAllister, Oklahoma, amending McAllister City Code Section 62-268H1 Health Facilities District, repealing all conflicting ordinances and providing for severability.
So this amendment is to lower the minimum lot area requirement of the H1 medical district. It would lower it from 50,000 square feet to 25,000 square feet. We done something very similar with all the other zoning districts, that we had lowered those requirements. This one was one that we had not done. I tried to research and to determine why it was 50,000 square feet, and the only thing I could find was a lot of studies, reports from like the 40s. And it had a lot to do with like disease control, infectious control, but medical capabilities have, advanced. And so we also looked at several different municipalities and what they do for their medical, or where hospitals or clinics are allowed. Many of them allow them in other commercial districts, and some even in residential. The area requirements are also much smaller. And so it was found that our zoning code for H1 was much more restrictive than other municipalities. So we do recommend the approval. McAllister Planning Commission also considered this one at their May 20th meeting and recommended the approval of this ordinance as well.
Sure, this was before HEPA filters.
Correct. I imagine so.
Everybody had their windows open and
Love this.
air was flowing. All right, any further discussion? Motion to approve. Motion, Counselor Gilmore, second Counselor Woodley. Cole, would you call the roll?
Counselor Gilmore,
Yes.
Woodley,
Yes.
Boatright,
Yes.
Beatty,
Yes.
Stone,
Yes.
Roden,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, and the motion carries. Item number 7, discussion and possible action to approve the final plat for Deer Ridge subdivision and authorize the mayor to sign the documents.
Okay, this final plat, had went through a subdivision review committee, in March, went through planning commission for their preliminary plat in April. And so the planning commission had approved that preliminary plat and then considered this final plat. I did put on here that had 9 residential lots. It does create the 9 lots, but there technically is 10 lots. So there's one very large lot, and then there are the 9 that are being created. This is south of Cardinal Lane where it dead ends, so it's just all that property that's there south of there. And the McAllister Planning Commission did consider this one also at their May 20th meeting, and they voted to recommend approval of this plat.
Any discussion? Motion to approve. Motion, Counselor Woodley, second Counselor Boatright. Cole, would you call the roll?
Counselor Woodley,
Yes.
Boatright,
Yes.
Beatty,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Stone,
Yes.
Roden,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, and the motion carries.
Thank you,
Item
Council.
number 8, discussion and possible action authorizing the mayor to approve and sign the change order change order number 2 from S3 Construction LLC for $63,818.70. This change order adds a 16-inch insert A valve in the 16-inch main transmission line. This will allow the new 16-inch line across Washington Avenue to be tied in without shutting off water to the hospital. This change order also adds days to the railroad delays for drinking water state revolving fund project number 10, Pearl Albert waterline improvements.
Mayor, council, it's a pleasure to be here tonight. This change order adds a 16-inch valve onto an existing main that comes across the hospital right at Monroe Avenue, just on the south side of the hospital. That valve, right now, we can't shut that water line off without shutting off a lot of the city, including the hospital. This valve will be cut in, the line live, so there'll be no interruption of service. And then once this valve is installed,
then they'll be able to isolate where the new 16-inch is being tied in on Washington Avenue that runs underneath the highway along the cemetery. You've seen the construction, goes underneath the railroad and ties in over on Kiamichi Drive, which then goes on and serves a major part of the city. So without this valve, they would have to shut down the hospital to make the tie-in. So this is a good investment, not only for now, but also in the future. If we ever need to, we kind of had a plan of isolating the hospital in the past. A couple of years ago when you had that major water outage and we're out of water for a couple of days, with all of these new improvements, including this valve, we can isolate the hospital and get water to the hospital and keep it open when we'll be out of water elsewhere.
It's a great idea.
And it's not cheap. It's a $69,000 valve. I mean, but it is well worth it. Kind of put it in comparison, we'd had to do some 24-inch valves on an emergency basis over on Park, and they were about $100,000. So these are right in line with what the pricing would be.
Well, I mean, with the hospital though, I mean, it could be a life and death situation though.
You can't
Shutting
put a
down the
price on
hospital and
that.
trying to move those patients elsewhere.
Not an option.
Yeah. So, any further discussion?
I got a question. So, you said to replace the 16-inch line, you have to put it in this valve, or you'd have to shut off part of the hospital? But if this is a change order, why wasn't it anticipated in the first place? Put it in the budget.
This valve was actually scheduled to be installed several years ago. I'm not sure exactly due to budget constraints or whatever. A previous development or a utility director didn't have that valve installed. So now we're to a point that it has to be installed. And this will be paid for with the DWSRF funds. So your $30 million loan project, where before those funds were coming out of city funds.
But the DWSRF project is a loan, it's that we have to pay back to the city, correct?
Correct.
So this wasn't budgeted to begin with?
It was not.
Do you have an answer why?
Actually, at that time, it was unknown that we could not isolate the hospital on this line. There is some valves on this line that are not operational.
Okay.
There's one valve that's actually in strong. As you make the curve, there's a manhole, and there's a valve about 12 foot deep there that when the 16-inch was originally installed, and that valve is inoperable. If that valve was still operable, we wouldn't have to be adding
They
this
talk
insertion valve.
across a lot of valves that are inoperable.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is why we
Thank you.
keep on having to put these set of valves in.
I was gonna say, it wouldn't be the first project or
Oh,
time
yeah.
when something was going.
I'm sure.
Stays in.
This will be
This is a
permanent.
permanent valve.
Yes, it is.
Any further questions? Motion to approve. Motion Counselor Beatty, second Counselor Boatright. Would you call the roll?
Vice Mayor Beatty?
Yes.
Counselor Boatright?
Yes.
Gilmore?
Yes.
Woodley? Yes. Stone?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, the motion carries. Alright, we're gonna flip flop again.
You
is that-
wanna flip 10 to, yep, you wanna do 10 first?
Please.
Okay, we're gonna do 10 before 9. So item number 10, discussion of possible action authorizing the mayor to approve the excess workers' compensation insurance quotation with Midwest Employers Casualty Company in the amount of $116,806. Ms. Wood.
So this is our excess workers' comp, being that the city is self-funded on workers' comp. And we had to go out and get bids on the additional funding. And this happens every year, we bring it to you. This happens to be, I think 2 years ago, we were with Midwest. And after they evaluate our payroll, this bid or this quote has actually come in less than the previous years. So we have not had any claims on that. Excess workers' comp, our deductible is $750,000. So luckily we've brought it back down this time around.
Any questions? Motion to approve. Motion Counselor Beatty, second Counselor Gilmore. Would you call the roll?
Vice Mayor Beatty?
Yes.
Counselor Gilmore?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Boatright?
Yes.
Woodley? Yes. Stone?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, the motion carries. Back to item number 9, discussion on the monthly financial update.
Mayor and council, tonight, I'm gonna present to you with the financial summary as of April of 2025. Being 83.33% of the year complete. Your first, slide is the general fund at a glance. Revenue sitting at 74.95, but expenditures sitting at 74.47. MPWA below that, 83.58, and expenditures at 66.57. Knowing that our sales tax is coming in less than what is expected or budgeted, roughly about $600,000 right now. We continue to, as we've kind of told you all along this year, have been watching our expenditures throughout the year, and hopefully other revenues will help us cover these, the shortfalls. The next slide is the sales tax that has come in, through May here at, I'm sorry, April, the 1.264, and that's total sales. Our budget there, being at 1.4. This is how our sales tax is broken down, with the general fund having the 2%, then our bond payments at 23%, our TIF, DWSRF, the dedicated funds for infrastructure, and the cancer center, and the early childhood safe rooms. That's how that 1.2 million is coming in, and that's how it's separated and divvied up. The next slide is the 2% for the general fund. Here for April, bringing in $728,000, budget at $732,000. These are some new slides for you guys that unfortunately you don't have any of them colored for you, all black and white. Okay, sorry about that. Sales tax overview. This is our between 24 and 25. Again, shows you the full sales tax that's coming in, and our percentage as of April was $434,000 less than last year. That brings it into perspective for us, unfortunately. So sales tax, kind of give you a breakdown as in the last couple of years, 22, 23, 24, and 25. And kind of ties this first sheet with the next sheet, where what those sectors are and the description of those sectors. And how that has, kind of gives you an idea of how those have changed over the last few years for us. And the pie chart on the next sheet. The sectors 44 and 45 are both sales tax and use tax. This is the greatest amount, that's bringing in those totals. And the next sheet after that, again, this is still information purposes for you. I kind of give you a list to kind of give you an idea of what those sectors that are contributing to that sales tax. Because 44 and 45 are both the larger participants here, kind of gives you an idea, list of those types of stores. So you kind of see how that's affecting those larger percentage of that pie.
Is Sector 72 accommodation, is that hotel, motel, or what's accommodation?
Yes. but I thought that that would be, giving you that breakdown, kind of answers of what, you know.
But the accommodation isn't the hotel tax.
Right.
that
It's
we-
just the sales
yeah,
tax
it's
part
just
of
the
part
sales
of
tax
of
on it.
that,
Yes.
comes out of that.
And it also includes, food, I think.
Yes.
Like
Restaurants.
restaurants.
Yes, correct.
The sales tax part of that, of the hotel, what's the percentage of that for hotel manager?
It's gonna be our, the hotel, the lodging tax is 6%.
6%.
Yes. So I have the same type of, for your use tax, I have the same type of information that kind of breaks that down, where we stand overall, and then breaks it down into the sectors, and then gives you the idea of that pie chart, how it comes across and how it's divided up. Again, section 44 and 45 is retail trade, so that kind of tells you where the majority of that use tax is coming from as well. So it's the same kind of information for sales tax and use tax.
On tobacco stores, are we just so much lower because of tribal tobacco?
I'm sure it is.
that
I
it?
don't know for a fact. I don't think we've ever broken that down as far as identifying what that is, but I'm sure it probably is.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
What's the difference between you have two different sector 44s, retail trade?
Mhm.
What's the difference between those?
It's just a matter of, that's in the kind of the breakdown, if you'll see the kind of the retail, it says 44, and then, it's just of how they are,
Classified.
yeah, classified
Yeah.
and unclassified as far, we kind of have talked about that a
We've
lot of different times.
We've had this
but-
conversation many times about why did they put it in 44 versus 45, and
Yeah.
Right.
there's just, yeah.
But it's just how, when they get their, tax ID number, it's based on where they fit in that state category.
Okay.
It's interesting how some of the cities have such a discrepant, like we have.
Yes.
Like some cities, $66 for optical, but ours is $2,585.
Right.
Big difference.
Right. So that kinda, and then the, kinda what Robin was referring to, Councilman Robin, Willie was referencing is on the comparison with Ada, Durant, kinda similar cities. It kinda gives you, those same retail trade, and how we compare with those two other cities that are like us.
Interesting.
Did the same with use tax as well, just so you have, that similar information. The next one is a graph, it kinda tells you, for the fiscal year 2025, and the last two, or the previous 2 years, for both sales tax and use tax combined, and you can see the graph, how that is dipping down in those years, in those months. November and March are, unfortunately, you don't have the colors.
I know, I was gonna say, I will make sure that it gets in color the next time, because it really does explain a lot
Yeah.
more when you see
When
the
you see
color.
that.
You have to write the
So,
numbers versus.
my apologies for not
Yeah.
getting that to you in color.
Save copy of it.
Yeah. The next, slide, on the next one is based on our population, and similar cities where we sit, population, we're ranked at 30, taxes we're ranked at 20, and you'll see how we fit amongst those other 5 up and 5 down below us, with, our population. And again, it points out where we have a shortfall of that 2.9%. There's a lot of information there, it's just how you look at it and dissect it and kind of, work through it. How you can best comprehend, how that's coming to us and how it's divvied up. The next one is one that you're used to seeing, is water sales for residential and commercial, for April. quite a bit lower, for the 199,000, from the previous 2 months. I would probably contribute that to our rain that we're getting. No one's out watering yet. However, our water districts and wholesale, doing fairly well here, above the last 2 years and over last month. Finally, we have hotel and motel tax, for the month of April, for this year, 41,000, which is, not too far. It's lower than last year. Of course, this is a full year since we turned the hotel motel collections over to the state. So that's kind of when in April was we had some past dues of last year, of that 103, for the prior year, and then, I don't know, do we have any that's past due right now? We have a couple.
How's that going, Sherry? With this, turning it over to the state, is it pretty consistent?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think we have any issues with that we have. I mean, the ones that are past due have been, they stay past due. So, it's usually 2 or 3 months out, as far as collection.
A penalty or anything for that?
Yes, yes.
And then the state goes
Also
in there and
penalizes
does their
them.
penalty thing, and then they pay it, and then they.
Let it ride again.
Yeah.
Do we need a stronger penalty?
At least have the authority of the state behind us now.
That's true.
They can close them down if they don't. If they get too many months past due, they can close them down. So
Oh, good.
we won't have any that will go more than 90 days past due because they'll put a OTC, Oklahoma Tax Commission notice on their front door.
Oh, wow.
Can you repeat that for the record?
Oh.
Since she wasn't on the microphone.
Sorry. What Kara was saying was that we won't have any hotels that will go past 90 days because the authority with the state can go in and shut their doors and put them on notice, to lock their doors until they are brought current.
Whereas we don't have that authority.
That's correct. I mean, all we can do is threaten with you'll just continue to get, penalties. Next on there is our sales tax, with our TIF. We paid out our third, payment of the 1.5 million. We talked about that, on our last meeting, but, so what is left is that 1.3. So we anticipate hopefully that, with our sales tax that, we have budgeted for the next fiscal year, majority of the year we'll be paying that, but I don't think it'll be a full 12 months.
It's good news.
Very good news.
Yes.
It's a
And
5-year
finally,
TIF,
the
and we're gonna get it done in under 4.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Our treasurer's report just lets you know, as of April 2025, where we stand in our balances, with our accounts. That's all that I have for you.
Are we, with our sales tax being down, is that kind of a national or state trend, or we kind of?
Yes, it is. I've talked to a lot of cities, and a lot of cities, are concerned, especially being right now we're in the budget year for next year. Not only are seeing that turn of, not meeting the budget for this year, but being able to budget for next year. All of them do not anticipate any increases. It's just where we are in the economy, and so it's statewide, concern.
Appreciate it. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See, you got me all kinds of backwards.
No, I'm sorry.
I think that's it.
New business?
Nothing from the city.
Staff reports, streets,
We have streets.
Mr. Spencer?
I'll run everybody out. I'm Brian Spencer, and it's a pleasure to get in front of you, the council, and actually get you to face what y'all voted on back in December. I know streets is a very important subject to the citizens of McAllister as well as the staff. And there's the commitment through Dave and Sherry, Tommy, Justin, the mayor, you know, that this is something we need to work on. It's been really neglected for many years. And you've spent the money with a survey, the IMS survey, so now it's time to do the next step and try to manage that. That's what I'm trying to do right now. That's gonna be my job, trying to manage that. We've kind of got a late start this year, but we're managing. We had F Street is one of the projects we're fixing to complete. We've had that on the board for a long time. It went back concrete, curb and gutter, done the whole block. We've done that in-house. It's actually cheaper for us to do it in-house, but we're able to do that. We're looking at 16th Street and Church, behind the county barn, the commodity warehouse that services all the schools. They're in and out all the time. That's actually right now, unfortunately, it's a unpaved road. I mean, it's one of the few unpaved roads we have in the city of McAllister, but we're fixing to put a pavement on it probably in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We're back up on Creek Street, 16th Creek, just a little west of there. We're got it, trying to get it done before the end of the fiscal year. So we've really got a lot of projects we're looking at in the future, maybe next year. The next fiscal budget, we're looking at intersections. I'm sure y'all's been down 3rd and Creek, that intersection there, it's horrible. Intersections really take a beating. There's a lot more wear, people turning, trucks are trash trucks, and I love trash, we gotta have trash. But they're a contractor, they're in the business to make money, and it doesn't really serve them to take a half a load of trash to Alderson and dump it. They wanna get a full load. And unfortunately, it's really for our neighborhoods and things like that, it's taking a beating on our streets. I know one project that I personally wanted to jump on when I got in here was 6th Street. It is a major thorn. But unfortunately right now with our budget, we unable to get that. Another thing, the 270 highway, or it's DOT regulated. We all have the little white cones that we can't cross, north and south. There's only literally 3 safe intersections to cross: Main Street, 6th Street, and Strong. They've got us narrowed down to that. So we actually, our new intern utility director found a grant or some money through the DOT that we applied for to hopefully get like a 3-year plan to help us with that. It's money matching, but they're $1 million increments. So it helped us with the engineering and that to get that fixed. So we're definitely looking at that. That's one of the major thorns we have right now, the complaints. It's understandable, I mean, it's horrible. But I just appreciate the opportunity to come and y'all put a face to me. I'm available anytime, talk to any of you, take any advice. I'm definitely far from knowing it all, but I definitely love to help and want to make the streets a lot better place and make the citizens happy, make you happy also.
That's why we're talking about it, because I know 6th Street does get a lot of attention, we'll call it.
It gets love. It gets love from the community.
What's just a ballpark of what it would take to do that from Carl Albert to Wyandotte?
Well, you've done the research, sir.
Well, with the engineering,
we won't hold you to the number.
Well, engineering we done, or the city completed 10 years ago in 2015. It was from just south of Wyandotte to Wyandotte and on 6th Street. That was $3.5 million. Yes.
Carl Albert to Wyandotte.
Okay, well I was just using that example. That's 3.5 10 years ago. From what we're looking at now from Wyandotte to Parkway, we're looking at probably 5 plus to get it going. And a lot of it is from the railroad tracks to Wyandotte is a big factor of that, because there's so much infrastructure, stormwater, our sewer, and our water. And we'd like to get our water out of the streets. You know, it's easier because that way you can pump water. So you're a little more freedom with water. Kind of get those out of the streets, that way when winter comes and the ground's moving, you have water leaks, you can actually get it to the water line without interfering with citizens' traffic and moving and all that stuff. Don't want to interfere with their movements. So if we get that out of there, but sewer, you're not so liberal with that. Kinda gotta go with flow and grade and all this other stuff. Stormwater also is gonna be a big factor of the infrastructure, so it's gonna be a big cost. That's gonna have to be engineered.
So for perspective, how much can you spend on roads every year?
Where's your wallet? We could spend a lot.
Well, I mean, how much do we have to spend that you get to
We
spend
are
every year?
budgeted for about $2 million is what we're.
1.2, sorry, 1.2 million.
1.2.
Plus 700,000 in road maintenance.
So we can not do any maintenance, we can not do any new streets for 4 years, and we can fix 6 streets.
Correct. But if we break it up, and this has been my goal, we've been talking about this back and forth, and it's been my goal that we break this up over 3 years. We do this in phases. We do. The good thing is that the first phase, there's no infrastructure underneath it. There's one 6-inch pipe water line underneath it, and it's going to get replaced when we go there. But it's not going to cost us nearly as much, and that'd get us from Carl Albert to the railroad tracks. Or are we going to
No, that'll get us, that 1 6-inch line, we're gonna move it out of the roadway down, because instead of crossing 2 streets, we're just gonna cross 1.
But
that's gonna get us down to the railroad tracks. That's
just
our first one.
I wasn't sure if we were going down to Chickasaw or not. So.
No, that'll
But
get us to our first one.
So from Carl Albert.
Yeah, Carl Albert to the railroad tracks. That's goal 1. Get that done, then we'll tackle the big stuff. The big ones, there is a ton of stuff under there, and you're also the gas lines. Well, we have to coordinate with the gas company to replace their lines that are under there as well, if they haven't already done it. And if they have, we have to then make sure that we don't strike it, hit it, and we repack it. So there's a lot to take into consideration when we do this.
But basically, all being said, you're not ignoring projects like that. It's budget restraints, feasibility. We're trying to redo all the infrastructure underneath so we don't build a brand new road and then cut it out a week later for a water break.
And we hired Brian to manage all of that, and Brian's doing a great job. He's given us those projects. He's lining out what the next 6 months are going to be. The next 3 months, then 6 months, then 9 months. He's doing them in increments so that we're getting the best bang for our buck. It may not be the big projects that you're going to see that you're going to say, oh my goodness, they're doing it, but they are. We are doing it. We're hitting the smaller projects that can have the most impact, and that's based on empirical data off of that survey that we had done. So we paid for that. We need to use it, and Brian, you're doing a great job.
As a reminder on that survey too, it's not just how many bumps are in the road, it's actually road base.
Mm-hmm.
It was LiDAR going down.
X-ray and LiDAR. So,
Phenomenal survey.
It really helps us from just guessing. We can make an educated guess, or not guess, but educated opinion and figure out where we want to go and how to spend our money wisely.
Pardon the pun, but it gives us that roadmap.
It does. It really does. And really, the way they lined it out in different colors, I always tease, we turn the worst is a brown. We want to turn our browns to green. So it definitely just a visual aid. You can see and know exactly, what condition the road is.
And that map is open to the public. So if anybody can go on to the City of McAllister, go to the Streets Department, and it should be right there on the bottom, and it'll say I think it's IMS survey.
Yeah. You go to streets, and then click streets again. There's a subparagraph, and then click that again, and it's right to the bottom.
Yep.
Street improvement.
And you can just go in there and look at your street, and it'll tell you what the color will tell you what condition it's in. It'll actually give you click on it, and it'll give you the PMI number. So
I encourage everyone to do that too. Because it's a lot of data there. A lot of your gatoring, your rutting in the roads. It also talks about concrete crumbling and things like that. So it's really informative and really give you a better perspective of how to look and what, rather than just it's a pothole. And we got some potholes for sure.
After this week, we really do.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. But I appreciate the opportunity to meet with y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Brian, I want to thank you for coming up here. This was real informative. I'd like to see you every couple of months or so. And, I've been hearing since I've been on this council that DOT was gonna, replace the bridges on Carl Albert. Are you hearing anything about that?
Mr. Purser, I have not. I have not heard anything of that, but I can check in on that.
Well, the, F Street over there, that was in my ward when I was out campaigning. There's like 2 houses on it, 1 block there. And the people that, some of the people that lived up there, a couple, said, we go ride our motorcycles all over Oklahoma. But when we get home, this 1 block is the worst street that we got going. And I promised them to try to get them a street done, so I finally come through with that promise. But I was kind of flabbergasted, and I just was out driving around. It was not in my ward anymore. But to see a concrete street for 1 block there, why didn't you overlay it? Wouldn't that have been cheaper?
Well, it would have been, but it'd have been like our potholes. It'd have been a Band-Aid, 'cause if, you drove up many times and how crumbly it was, there was snow base.
Yeah, that's what that was, but I
Yeah.
bet you the thing was 40 years old or something like that.
Yeah, it had no base underneath it. We got up there to the top of the crest of the hill and we hit rock. And we hit rock, but the thing about it was when you hit rock, that clay that's next to it, it just left it there.
It looks
We put a
really
good solid
nice.
base.
I hadn't been over there in a couple of weeks and stuff.
You need to go over there. I'm sure you'd like that. It's definitely I know it's in the neighborhood, and that's where we need to get. Something else we need to look for is to get back in our neighborhoods and try to replace them. Like I say, the poor trash trucks are you got curbs that's that tall because they're mashing them up, because they broke through the base. But we definitely need to get back in our neighborhoods, especially.
Do you know where Northgate Addition's at?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My 7th grade science teacher still lives there. So anyway, thank you, Brian.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
City manager report?
In the back, you'll find my city manager's report for the month of May. This actually, of course, in with that is our obligatory letter from me, and you'll find all of the reports from the individual departments. Take that home, please. Go ahead and read it, live it, understand it, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact me afterwards. We also will be handing this over to the press and publishing it online after this meeting. I do want to say that with the storm that hit us on Saturday, we have been working diligently to come up with a plan on how we're going to handle that storm. I know several of you have reached out to me to try and kind of figure out what the city was going to do for this. We've gone through and looked at the past and looked at what has worked and what hasn't worked in the past. Basically the plan is already there. The plan is already in place. All we needed to do was extend some hours out. If you want to just leave it on the curb, you can only do that in bundles that are 35 pounds or less. They have to be bundled together and sorry, not Waste Management, but Republic Services will pick those up with the regular routes, so you can put them out that way, or you can also take them to the landfill. With this, we're going to open up the landfill for 2 additional weekends. So basically on Saturday, this Saturday, and then next Saturday, we're going to open up from 8 to noon on those 2 days to give people a chance to come in and drop that off. And then that's three weekends in a row, because the next Saturday is our normal day that we're open. So that'll be 3 weekends in a row that we'll have the landfill open and available to do that. We ask that the Saturday and following, that's the 31st and the 7th. The 31st and the 7th is brush only, so it's tree limbs and storm damage only. Do not bring your trash, don't bring anything that's going to go in those dumpsters. We're being very cautious about what we're putting in those dumpsters, because we are having to revert from the 6 dumpsters a month that we've been doing down to 2 dumpsters a month, which is why we're being way more cautious about what we're allowing to go into the landfill and into the and basically what we're accepting at the landfill. So there's the last option, and what we really are wanting to press is let's be good neighbors and be good stewards. If you know of a neighbor that, you know, just can't get out and take care of these limbs on their own, go and help your neighbor. Help them out. You can take them to the, you know, using their water bill. They can take, you know, just go with them to the landfill, and you can drop them off. Just help people out. Help each other. We can't, unfortunately, we just can't do curbside service ourselves. It would be an astronomical partaking on our part. We don't have the manning, the crews, or the equipment to be able to do it. So, but the means that are there. It's already in place. All we got to do is just do it correctly, and that means bundling up those sticks in 35 pounds or less, and the crews will come out and they will pick those up.
Certainly.
Yes, it's 4 feet. Yeah, 4 foot, 48 inches.
35 pounds?
35 pounds or less. Do you have any questions on that? We're going to be pushing this out, and we will push this out onto our social media campaign. It's out now. We'll be pushing that out on McAllister Connect. It's out now. Facebook, website.
3 different places.
It's all over the website. It's on 3 different places. So we just encourage I encourage council when you receive these calls. Here's what we do. Make yourself familiar with it. If you want a copy of our plan, Adrian can print that out for you, and you can have that so that when you receive these calls, you can say, okay, here's the plan. Here's what you can do. Any other questions?
That was one question.
All right.
So where can we find it?
I would like to say thank you to the city crews that were out on Saturday morning at very early on Saturday morning, pushing all of those trees out of the streets and doing a lot of chainsaw work. It just hit us, and we had no idea where it came from. I think they did the total from MesoNet was 4 inches in a little over an hour and a half, or hour and 15 minutes.
Wow.
There isn't a canal or stormwater system or anything that can manage that volume of water. So if you got some water in your building or water in your business, I'm really sorry, but that is an act of God. There isn't a system out there that can handle that kind of water. And then you add the 90-degree winds to it. It just put us in a rough place. So if you see the crews out and they're picking that stuff up, wave and say thank you, because they have been working really hard since the weekend, and they'll continue to be working on that for the next few weeks. Okay, that's all I have, sir.
We'll move on to remarks by City Council.
I'd just like to add on to that a little bit more, that we commend the city workers and commend the electrical workers. My parents were out of electricity for almost 36 hours, but those men and women that are out there working on them lines are putting their life on the line, that we can have a luxury and the need of electricity. So I want to commend them, and also ask for, when we find ourselves in those situations, that we have a little bit of grace with those people, because in some of those linemen were out there for over 24 hours, no sleep, working overtime. So have a little bit of grace for them, because it takes a special kind of person to put their life on the line. You're talking with that amount of voltage, one wrong move, it's over with. So I definitely want to commend them and say thank you, if you're watching online today, for what you have done for us. And like he said, that was an act of God. There was so much water. I live on the corner of 3rd and Washington. A lot of you probably seen that video online. That was a lot of water.
A lot of water.
Yeah, so we'll clean up as we go.
Adrian just printed it out for you. He's going to drop it off on you so that you have this in case you get phone calls. So just hand it to him.
Sure.
Looking at the agenda this last week, I want to say a big thank you to the work that the Planning Commission does. The amount of time that they meet and the serious study that they give. You know, they're volunteers and they give so much time and effort. So much of what makes it easier for us is the work that they have done. And I'm grateful for the people that volunteer to do that. They really bring a skill set to this that makes it easier for us to understand and to come and to vote easily. I appreciate that. And I didn't realize you could burn. You can burn.
Yeah, we're quiet about that one, but it is an option.
It's a bullet on here.
I know.
Cost me $50 less.
So,
glance down and saw that.
there is an option. You can burn. You have to have a burning permit to do that inside of city limits. If you're going to do a 6x6, it's $25. If you're going to do anything bigger than a 6x6, it's $50. You have to get that permit through the fire department. And the fire department has to approve you every time you want to burn. So if you get the permit, that doesn't just give you that free will to go for the next 30 days and burn willy-nilly. You actually have to call every day to say, can I burn? And they will give you that permission.
And that goes through the fire department, so they would just call them.
They got to go through the fire department. The fire department will go out and check the site. They'll look at it and make sure that it's, you know, there's no trees that are hanging over it that are going to catch fire and turn us into a cinder. Yeah. So we put it on there because it is a legal means by which you can get rid of this stuff. If you have one of those little itty bitty fire pits, like a little, you know, you don't actually need a permit for that, but you have to maintain that as a very small fire.
Stone?
It's encouraging to actually be voting on new housing additions, and getting zoning changed around for development, and it's just good to see things go from the planning stage to the moving forward toward completion stage. So I think we're moving on. It's good. It's good.
Roden?
The Roundup Club had a 50-50 success in the rodeo this week, and they had a good night Friday night. There was tons of cars. You couldn't hardly drive down D Street, and then the storm come through Saturday. But they had the rodeo Saturday night anyway, even though it was muddy and stuff. Wasn't as many there. But the upside of that rain was it made a bunch of them go to the motels and stuff, because I talked to them, and it brings in a lot of money. Now, we're having some business closings. The reason I'm bringing it up, make sure y'all know about this. I don't know what to do about it, but down on Choctaw, the Spoon and Fork closed up, the Compass closed up, the nutrition store across the street is closed up, and down in Northtown, the Polar Bear convenience store has closed up. And that's just a few of the quick ones. So that's all I have.
I want to thank all the people that volunteered to go pull these trees out of the road. Not only city crews, but private individuals offered their services for free, and I appreciate them doing that. And I want to thank him about the putting in the new street over on 15. So I'm knocking on wood. Somebody's knocking on my head right now. Want that finished. So I'm just glad to hear some good news.
No, I'm good.
Mayor's comments. School's officially out.
Yeah.
So just be careful when you're out driving around. There may be kids out playing in different activities. Lots of camps and summer school and just different things where people may not be where you're used to when you're driving, so just kind of keep an eye out on them. Also, we've got the splash pad open at Moreland Park.
Yeah.
And it seems like it is going phenomenal. And so far, so good on lifeguards? Or no? Don't bring it up?
We could still use some, but we have enough right now to open, and we're not going to have any changes or any effects to our hours.
So we need
if you know anybody that wants to be a lifeguard, please, or yeah.
We need help. Call in sick. Quit early in the summer.
Well, yep.
parties, all that sort of thing, but make it happen.
It's-
We need lifeguards, please help.
And I'll tell you right now, this has been a skin of our teeth for 3 years in a row. We're just not getting the lifeguards, and if at some point in the future, this may end up being the end of pools. So, if we want to keep pools open, and we want to continue to have pools, somebody needs to get kids out here and get them involved. We can do everything we can do as a city to reach out to the community and say, hey, we need lifeguards, we need lifeguards, we need lifeguards. We're reaching out to our community partners, we need lifeguards. We were lucky to get 20. Typically we want 30, 35. Last year, up until the very last minute, we only had 18, and then we did a final push, and somebody showed up with another 10. So this is becoming an issue. It's becoming a major issue.
And we think of it as a summer teenage job, but it's not. It's for all ages.
It's all ages. Anybody can do it as long as you're,
Yeah.
Yeah. You
And we
can-
take care of the certification.
And we take care of the certification. We take care of your uniforms. We just need you to commit to it. So
Dave, is the wading pool over to Ike Hutchinson still open?
Hutchinson, no. The only one that's open is Chaddock Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
On that, and then just to reiterate what everyone said, thank you so much for any workers, volunteers, neighbors, just anybody that got out and helped. I was watching city crews literally sweep up storm drains, trying to get them open. And
Let me brag on my grandkids, especially my 17-year-old granddaughter. I said, Jenna, Cooper, they need you working in the concession stand over at the rodeo, and she said, okay, just that easy.
there you
So
go.
there's
And to reiterate what Dave said, we have a list of options to help with limbs, and there again, just ask everyone to be neighborly, help out your neighbors, help out your community, anywhere you can be of service. We greatly appreciate it. With that, we'll now recess the council meeting. We'll convene as the McAllister, take a motion to convene as the McAllister Airport Authority. Motion to include approval of the minutes from May 13, 2025, regular meeting of McAllister Airport Authority. Confirm action take on city council agenda item B and adjourn. Motion, Councilor Gilmore, second, Councilor Beatty. Cora, would you call the roll?
Counselor Gilmore?
Yes.
Beatty?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Boatright?
Yes.
Woodley?
Yes.
Stone?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, and the motion carries. Now take a motion to convene as the McAllister Public Works Authority. Motion to include approval of the minutes from May 13, 2025, regular meeting of the McAllister Public Works Authority. Confirm action taken on city council agenda item B and adjourn. Motion, Councilor Gilmore, second, Councilor Woodley. Cora, would you call the roll?
Counselor Gilmore?
Yes.
Woodley?
Yes.
Stone?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Boatright?
Yes.
Beatty?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, the motion carries. Now take a motion to convene as McAllister Retirement Trust Authority. Motion to include approval of minutes from the April 22nd, 2025 regular meeting of McAllister Retirement Trust Authority. Approval of retirement benefit payments from May 1st, 2025 and adjourn. Motion, Councilor Stone, second, Councilor Beatty. Cora, would you call the roll?
Counselor Stone?
Yes.
Beatty?
Yes.
Woodley?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Boatright?
Yes.
Gilmore?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, the motion carries. Now take motion to convene as McAllister Economic Development Authority. Motion to include approval of minutes from May 13, 2025, regular meeting of McAllister Economic Development Authority. Confirm action taken on city council agenda item B and adjourn. Motion, Councilor Stone, second, Councilor Boatright. Cora, would you call the roll?
Counselor Stone?
Yes.
Boatright?
Yes.
Woodley?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Beatty?
Yes.
Gilmore?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, the motion carries. Reconvene as the regular council meeting. Remind you to help us protect the control of the pet population. Have your pets spayed or neutered, and we are adjourned.